listening to The Mark Cox Show. Find everything Mark Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
So, City of Denver now will add a new twist to Bring Your Own. The Mile High City becoming the first in the country that will allow people to use their own marijuana in bars and restaurants. But first, the owners have to get a license, the owners of the establishments. Patrons will be able to use pot as long as it is not smoked, with the possible exception of outside smoking areas. So I guess you can't do it inside, get it outside, kind of like the nicotine laws today with cigarettes.
But you can bring it in as long as you're not going to smoke it. You can use it there. What, are you going to sprinkle it on your pasta? Or stir it into your iced tea? I don't know, I'm confused. How's that going to work?
Haven't had pasta like that. I prefer the Parmesan.
Bill Hemmer and Martha McCallum having a little bit of fun this morning with this insane law in Denver that you can bring pot into restaurants now. What is the world coming to? I don't know. You got me. Let me ask Lis Wiehl from Fox News Channel. Lis, how are you?
I'm doing fine. I don't get it. So you can bring it in, but you can't smoke it. But you just
you can bring a bag of edibles in, I guess, if you want them as dessert, or like Martha said, you could sprinkle it on your pasta. But if you want to smoke it, you got to go outside.
Okay. Well, I remember when I was in Seattle, which is kind of my hometown. Well, it's not really. It's Yakima, Washington is a smaller town. But I was in Seattle with my daughter a summer or two ago, and we're in Pike Street Market, which is like, really, it's a fun place. You go like to see the fish and all that. And we're walking along, and she's a teenager, and we're walking along, and a guy's just smoking pot right in front of us. And he looks at us because her eyes are like this big, and she goes, "What? It's legal."
Yeah, I don't get.
Just like, okay, just keep walking. Don't make a scene.
I wonder if the restaurants in Denver will start charging a pottage fee or a corkage fee if you bring your own pot in. You think
a pottage fee?
It could be. You never know, right?
Fee.
Oh boy. So you live in New York City. Am I correct about that?
Right.
Okay.
Right. I work in New York City. I live in the burbs. Yeah.
But you could randomly go out to dinner at like Club 21 and see Donald Trump eating steak, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
He popped in there last night.
I can't believe the uproar over that. The media's really put out that he didn't invite them along.
I guess the press was mad because I guess they were told that he was staying in Trump Tower, but then we went out to dinner. I mean, I don't regularly go to Club 21. I think I've been there once. It's very expensive.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like a hamburger is like, I don't know. I'm just saying these words because I don't really know. $50. It's probably more like $75. I'm so out of touch because I'm like eat my lunch at my desk. And hopefully when I go out, people actually pay for me. But whatever. No,
Right.
I'm kidding. I split the bill, but whatever. So I haven't been to 21 in a long time, but it's very expensive. But I'm sure he gets tired of getting takeout or take in or whatever, and he wanted to take his family out to a nice dinner. And he didn't want to tell the press. But they got angry that they weren't, not invited, but that they weren't told that he was leaving the place.
This is going to be an interesting 4-year ride, isn't it?
Oh, well, yeah.
If this is any indication.
That's a word for it.
Oh, boy. One of the stories that you're covering today is, and I did not watch this show, but so many of my friends did, this Making of a Murderer series.
Right.
So what's happened in that case now?
Okay, so two guys were convicted. The main guy was this guy named Avery. He was convicted of the main killing of this. And I don't want to go into the details of the killing. It's a horrible, awful thing. But he was convicted of the main murder. And then his nephew, a younger guy, was convicted. Brendan Dassey was convicted of kind of being an accomplice. So Dassey's conviction has now been overturned because they said that the confession was coerced. And when you look at it, and Netflix, the Making of a Murder, looked at it, I can see where they could say that because he was 17 at the time, and at the time, under state law, you're supposed to be able to have an adult there, whether it's your lawyer or a family member and a relative, someone like that. You're supposed to be at least a veil of an adult. He did not have that. He had some mental issues, understanding stuff that was being told to him, kind of issues. He was sort of led down a path. Things were kind of planted in his mind, could this have happened, ideas in his mind. He was kept there for a long time, that sort of, kind of tactic. And the judge looked at this and said, this is really not passing muster for me, especially when you're talking about a criminal case, murder conviction. The stakes are so high. Yeah, I'm throwing this confession out. You prosecutors are going to have to try your case without it. And so I'm letting him go for the time being. I mean, you can go back and try your case without the confession. It's not like I'm letting him go forever and ever. I'm just saying you got to try it without the confession.
Yeah.
So, right.
Yeah.
So they got to look at now, retry him without the confession. There may be enough evidence to do it, but for now he's going to be let go, I think, on Friday. Prosecutors are, trying to not have that happen, but that's where it's going. And then the question is, Avery, the main guy who is in prison for the killing itself, he's saying, well, wait a second. He's trying to argue, through his lawyers, wait a second. Dassey's confession was really, really important in my conviction, so my conviction now should be tossed out.
Sure.
And, of course, the prosecutors are saying, wait a second, Dassey's confession had really nothing to do with your conviction. So it's a real mess right now, frankly.
And a high-profile one because of that show, no doubt about that.
Exactly.
Lisa, I wanted to ask you about one other story. I think that when we talk about people who might have a drinking problem, if you try to sneak vodka into a high school football game in a sippy cup, you've probably got bigger problems to begin with. But you've got a story about a mother who took it a step further. With
her 23-month-old kid.
Oh, my God.
Now, you all heard about adults bringing in, beer or something in a Coca-Cola bottle or a flask or whatever. Okay, that's bad enough. But she brought vodka, not beer, vodka in a sippy cup with her 23-month-old kid. So a relative of hers sees kid falling down, not able to stand up during the game. Sees the kid like, what's going on with this little kid? Doesn't know, of course, what's going on, brings the kid to the hospital. God knows where the mother is at this point. Brings the kid to the hospital. Kid is treated for alcohol poisoning. Mom is then charged with a first-degree misdemeanor, which absolutely should be, which is you can get to 6 months in jail in Ohio for that, and a $1,000 fine.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, and so then I tried to get some reports on this. Apparently, she says to the cops, allegedly, she says, I didn't know that there was alcohol in that sippy cup.
Yeah.
Because I didn't remember bringing the alcohol, and there's someone else to drink it. I'm like, well, unless your son is like Stewie on American Dad, who's like, remember that little, the
I
little
do,
kid,
yeah.
on American Dad with little Stewie and Brian? I mean, the dog. Unless he's like Stewie who walks around and regularly fills his cup with, alcohol. I'm not sure even Stewie does that. I love that little kid. He's so funny.
Not a 2-year-old, no.
No, a regular 2-year-old doesn't run around filling a sippy cup with vodka. Come on, lady.
That's crazy. And I guess her assumption is she was trying to sneak it into the football game probably, and the kid found it in her purse and started drinking it.
But it's a sippy
I know.
That's what kids drink out of. Do you think it's a 23-month-old kid is going to go to a football game and watch the football players going, oh, that was a nice taco, Mama.
Exactly.
Ooh, look at that. No, he's going to drink out of a sippy cup. That's what kids do.
Oh, boy.
Games.
Lis Wiehl, it's always a pleasure talking to you.
Okay, sorry, I'll calm down.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.
I'll see you later.
All right, take care. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, she's great. I love having her on. Could you just imagine these people in this restaurant in New York sitting down for their $100 steak, and in walks Donald Trump?
Do you think they're used to that kind of thing, though?
At that
kind of a restaurant where it's that expensive and you have to have money to go in there and
maybe they're
spend
used
the money
to seeing
there.
him to begin with.
Right. So I wonder if they weren't really shocked. I understand the media was very upset.
The media was put out that he defied the tradition of having a small press pool travel with him in case they need to ask him something.
While you're eating dinner. Here, let me shove this steak in my mouth while you ask me a question.
He doesn't have any power yet.
Yeah.
Technically. So, like I said, this is going to be a different ride for the media in this country. Mike said